So much of our financial life is online now, right? It's all just taps and clicks. And that makes you wonder, just how strong are the walls protecting all of it? Well, today, we're going to dive into India's big plan to build a digital banking fortress.
You know that little voice in the back of your head? The one that pops up every single time you use your phone to pay for something or log into your banking app? It's always asking, is my money, really safe in there?
Well, guess what? You're not the only one asking. Turns out India's central bank, the Reserve Bank of India, has been thinking about that exact same thing. And they've come up with a massive new master plan to, well, fortify the whole digital economy.
So what exactly is this master plan? Okay, get ready for the official name. It's the Master Direction on Information Technology Governance, Risk, Controls, and Assurance Practices. Yeah, it's a mouthful, I know. So let's just call it what it is, the new rulebook for building that digital fortress.
Basically, what the RBI did was take all these different guidelines from over the years, gave them a major update, and rolled them all into one huge single rulebook. And this thing went live on April 1st, 2024. And let's be clear, this isn't just some friendly advice. Nope. This is the new law of the digital land for India's entire financial system.
And when I say the whole system, I mean it. The scope here is just massive. We're talking about everyone. All the big commercial banks, the payment banks, those important non-banking financial companies. Heck, even the credit bureaus that handle all our credit scores. It is a complete, system-wide overhaul.
Okay, so think about it. If you're going to build a fortress, you can't just start piling up bricks, right? You need a solid blueprint. You absolutely need to know who's in charge of what. And that's exactly what the RBI's new rules do. They make it crystal clear who is responsible for every single piece of this. And this right here, this is the absolute heart of the new framework. Cybersecurity is no longer something you can just toss over the wall to the IT department and forget about. The RBI is saying, loud and clear, that accountability starts at the very, very top. We're talking about the boardroom.
So here's how that chain of command breaks down. It all starts with the board of directors. They're the ones who have to sign off on the entire IT and security strategy. Then they set up a special IT strategy committee, right at the board level, to keep an eye on everything. Below them, you've got senior management, whose job it is to actually execute the plan. And finally, the head of IT handles the day-to-day operations. See, every single link in that chain is now clearly defined.
Now check this out, because this is a huge deal. There's this new, super important role called the Chief Information Security Officer, or CISO. This person is basically the chief defender of the whole fortress. But here's the game-changing part. The RBI says this person has to be independent. They can't report to the IT head, and they can't have any business targets tied to their job. Now, why does that matter so much? Well, in the past, security could sometimes take a back seat to IT projects or hitting sales numbers. This new rule completely changes that. It makes sure that security decisions are made purely for security's sake, period. Their only mission is defense.
All right, so we've got the leadership sorted out. The blueprint is clear. Now let's get into the fun stuff, the actual walls, moats, and guards of this digital fortress. What are the specific technical defenses that are now required?
Okay, I find this part fascinating. The RBI is basically saying, hey, it's not enough to just secure your own stuff. You are now responsible for the security of the software you buy from other companies. So now banks have to get a certificate from their vendors that says, yep, our app is totally free of known vulnerabilities, malware, or any of those sneaky hidden backdoors. It's about making sure the very bricks you build your fortress with are solid from the get-go.
So the first line of defense is something called a vulnerability assessment. The best way to think about this, it's like the guards constantly patrolling the fortress walls. They're looking for any unlocked doors or obvious weak spots, basically all the known threats.
But what about the dangers you don't see coming? The secret passages. That's where penetration testing, or PT, comes in. This is awesome. It's literally like hiring a team of good guy hackers to try and break into your own fortress. Their job is to think like the enemy and find those clever, hidden weaknesses before the real bad guys do.
And this isn't just a one-time thing. The RBI is making it mandatory. For the really important critical systems, they've set a strict schedule. Those vulnerability scans have to happen at least every 6 months, and the super deep penetration tests at least once a year. It's a constant, never-ending cycle of testing and retesting the defenses.
Okay, but let's be realistic. No fortress is ever 100% unbeatable. So no matter how strong your walls are, you have to have a plan for the worst-case scenario.
What happens if someone does get through? How do you respond? How do you recover? And how fast can you get back up and running?
The whole crisis plan boils down to two really important ideas. First is the recovery time objective, or RTO. That just asks a simple question. How quickly can we get back online after an attack? The second is the recovery point objective, or RPO. This one asks, how much data is it okay to lose? So for instance, an RPO of say 15 minutes means your backups can never be more than 15 minutes old. Simple as that.
And when it comes to the most critical financial systems, the RBI standards are, well, they're incredibly high. They're demanding a minimal RTO and a near zero RPO. What does that mean in plain English? It means they expect these systems to recover almost instantly with basically zero data lost. That is the absolute gold standard, and it's what they're aiming for.
And to make sure this plan actually works and isn't just a dusty binder on a shelf, they're making banks run full-blown disaster recovery drills. We're talking at least once every 6 months. And this is the real deal. They have to physically switch everything over to their backup at data center and run the entire bank's operations from there for a day. It is the ultimate fire drill for the digital age.
And these rules aren't just about code and servers. They get into real-world physical logistics. And it's just common sense when you think about it. Your backup site has to be geographically far away from your main one. Why? So that a single disaster, like a flood, an earthquake, you name it, can't wipe out both your live system and your only backup at the same time.
So, let's recap. We've got the leadership, we've got the defenses, and we've got a plan for when things go wrong. But how do you double-check that all of this is actually working the way it's supposed to? And more importantly, what does all this mean for you and me?
That's where the final piece of the puzzle comes in, the audit. Think of it as an independent inspection. A totally separate group comes in, and they examine the entire fortress, from the top-level strategy all the way down to the technical details. And their report goes straight to the board's audit committee. It's that crucial, unbiased check on the whole system.
So, let's bring it all back home. What does this whole digital fortress thing actually mean for you? Well, first, it means your data and your money are just plain better protected against cyber attacks. Second, the services you rely on should be more reliable, with less downtime. And finally, it means you know there's a crystal clear chain of command whose job it is to keep your money safe. It's all about having a powerful, standardized defense system ready to go.
Look, this new rulebook is a massive step forward. It creates a strong, standardized security baseline for India's entire financial world. But the bad guys never stop innovating, right? The threats are always changing. And that leaves us with a big question for the future. As things like AI and quantum computing completely change the game, what will the digital fortress of tomorrow even look like?